You're not responsible for someone's insecurity. You can't fix what's broken inside them. That's their work to do. You're not responsible for their unrealistic expectations. You decide your limits, not their impossible standards. You're not responsible for their misplaced anger. Their reaction isn't your fault. Don't hold on to guilt that isn't yours.
The #1 health and wellness podcast.
Jay Shetty.
Jay Shetty.
The one, the only Jay Shetty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to On Purpose, the place you come to listen, learn, and grow. I'm your host, Jay Shetty, and today we're talking about the things you're not responsible for. I don't know about you, but I feel like we all carry and feel responsible for more than we can hold. Sometimes the weight feels so heavy and we're trying to carry our parents' expectations. We're trying to carry the responsibilities that we have on a day-to-day basis. We're trying to carry people's emotions and feelings and pain. And it can often feel like it's just weighing so heavy. And at the end of trying to carry all of this, you just feel like falling and breaking down. I'm sure you felt the same way, where you feel like the weight you're carrying is getting heavier every single year. And the weight of people's expectations, opinions, obligations, whatever it may be, never ever stops. In fact, it just continues to grow and accelerate as time goes on. As you listen to this episode today, I want it to be freeing. I want you to feel lighter. I want you to feel liberated. As you listen to this episode, I want you to feel like you can actually move and think and have space to create. Because what we don't realize is when we feel responsible for things that we don't need to be responsible for, we are blocked. Our creativity is blocked. Our passions are blocked. Our time is blocked. So much of our intuition is blocked because we're making space and room for everything else. So the first thing that I want to talk about, the first thing you're not responsible for is other people's feelings. You can respect them, but their emotional reactions aren't yours to carry or fix. You can be kind to people, but people will still feel hurt. You can be present with people, but they can still feel distant. You can be thoughtful, but people will still feel unheard. You are not responsible for other people's feelings. I remember being that person where I would overanalyze every text, every email, every message, every interaction to say things perfectly, to say things in a way that there would be no opportunity for misinterpretation or fallout. And guess what? People were still upset. People were still hurt. Not because I wanted them to be hurt. If anything, I was trying to avoid that. But I found that I'm not responsible for other people's feelings. If someone wants to be hurt, they'll be hurt no matter what you say. If someone wants to be mad at you, they'll be mad at you no matter what you say. If someone wants to feel upset with you, they'll feel upset with you no matter what you say or do. If someone has made their mind up about how they feel about you, there is nothing you can do to fix it. You can be kind, you can be respectful, you can try, but you can't be responsible for their feelings. Because why? If you're responsible for their feelings, your time, your energy starts to follow theirs. If they're in a good mood, you're in a good mood. If they're in a bad mood, you're in a bad mood. If they're high energy, you're high energy. If they're low energy, you're low energy. Constantly, we feel our highs and lows are mirroring the highs and lows of the person we're tied to. Often the hardest people to do this with is our parents. We feel responsible for our parents' feelings. So when your parents going through something really, really difficult, maybe they're going through a transition, maybe they're going through a shift or a change, and all of a sudden, not only are you constantly thinking about their feelings, you feel responsible for them. You feel it's your job to make today a great day for them. You try and change everything. You change your whole routine. You call them first thing in the morning. You put aside other tasks. And by the way, this is all well-intentioned. And it's a beautiful act of love. But what we don't realize is we haven't helped them develop the emotional skills and tools they need. You're trying to be a mood shifter, a mood changer for that person rather than putting the control in their hand. It's almost like saying, hey, I'll decide what to watch tonight. Hey, I'll decide what to order tonight. And sure, it can be great to create that space in the short term, but long term, the goal is to equip that person with the ability to make choices about their own feelings. Trust me when I say this. This is not about being hard-hearted. It's not about not caring. It's not about not loving someone you really, really love. It's about recognizing that real love is helping someone learn how to choose their feelings and emotions. You're not helping someone if you're debilitating them. You're not helping someone if they're dependent on you to feel good. If someone's dependent on you to feel good, you have not helped them. You've stalled them. Think about that for a second. If someone is dependent on you to feel happy, you have not helped them. You've actually hurt them. Because that means when you're not available, when you're not accessible, when you're not capable, when you don't have time or space, that person can't find that joy. I'm sure that's not what you want for them. So we don't want to feel responsible for other people's feelings. We want to feel connected in helping them, supporting them, being there for them, but not responsible. Because when you're responsible for it, you then take it into your own life and start to carry it. The second thing you're not responsible for is how people perceive you. You can say everything right and people will still think you're wrong. You can speak the truth and people will still think you're lying. You can try to explain yourself and people will still misunderstand you. You are not responsible for how people perceive you. They might base it off a first impression. Something someone else said, something they heard. If someone chooses to perceive you based on another person's opinion of you, that means they don't want to get to know you. Let me say that again. If someone bases their perception of you based on how another person perceives you, they don't actually want to get to know you. If someone told you that someone else was lazy, disorganized, and you take their word for it, it means you don't want to make the time or the energy to actually get to know that person. Because chances are, if you did get to know them, you might realize that just like all of us, they're lazy in some ways, but they're organized in other ways. So if we're using people as our shortcuts to learn about people, then guess what? We don't want to deeply get to know that person. So you're not responsible for how people perceive you because people will perceive you through all sorts of ways. Think about this for a second. What's the one word someone would use to describe you if they saw you but didn't speak to you? Second question. How would someone describe you in one word if they spoke to you for a few minutes? Now, imagine if someone spoke to you for a few hours. I'm guessing there's a big difference in how someone perceives you when they see you and don't speak to you, when they speak to you for a few minutes, and when they speak to you for a few hours. That's definitely true for me. right? I feel like if someone saw me, they may have a certain perception. If someone spoke to me for a few minutes, they'll have another perception. And if someone spent hours or months or years with me, they'll have a different perception. How can you possibly be responsible for how people perceive you when the way people see you is the way they see the world? The way people see you is how they often look at themselves. The way people see you is how they've felt seen or unseen in the past. The way people see you is based on someone else they met that was kind of like you. There are so many touch points as to how someone deciphers and decides how they perceive you. You could try and be really nice and someone will say they're trying too hard. You could be a little standoffish and people will say, oh, they're really distant and absent. You could try and be really interested and curious and people will say they ask too many questions. You could be a little more introverted and people say, oh, well, they suck the energy out of the room. How people perceive your silence is different. Some people perceive it as a strength, as a power. Some people perceive it as a weakness. I really understood this when I lived in the monastery and we were exposed to this idea of humility. And humility was seen as the number one quality that humans could aspire for. But today when people demonstrate humility, people often think of it as low self-esteem or they think of it as low self-worth. They don't value it. They value someone who's got a bit of swag, who's got a bit of confidence. But for the monks, humility is the greatest sign of confidence. The ability to accept what you know and what you don't know. To be honest about your strengths and your weaknesses. To be clear about what you're good at and what you're bad at. That's reality. But today we reward people who feel confident all the time. People who look like they have it all together. Perception is also different all across the world. And how we receive people's praise and perception is fascinating. I remember looking at a case study of the performance company Cirque du Soleil. You might have even heard of them.